talking about Dr. Martin Luther King, it's incredible that Barbie, he was really one of the main proponents. Civil rights at the time really doesn't happen without his initial push, and he was ahead of the times. Do you find there was a dichotomy that he actually authorized the wiretap of Dr. Martin Luther King?
It's on the book. And it is, just remember, we're involved in the Cold War. You can kid all you want about the Cold War, think, oh, what was that? It was all. No, there really was a Soviet effort to get us, and there were Soviet people. And Stanley Levison had been an active leading member of the Communist Party all through the early 50s. That's a fact. And all the people on the left, and Clarence Jones, the lawyer for Dr. King, nobody's going to deny this. The only question is, J. Edgar Hoover thought he may still be under Soviet discipline. And the USCP was under Soviet discipline. It wasn't a bunch of free-thinking intellectuals. If you were in the party, you did what the party wanted. And that was true during the war, when the Russians teamed up with the Molotov-Ribbentrop Treaty. All of a sudden, oh, we're not so anti-German, right? All of a sudden, they attack Russia, and then we're all anti-German. The party was the party. Let's not forget the Cold War. It was real. McCarthy was drunk and confused about it, but there were some communists in the country. Anyway, that was part. Let me tell you the thing about King and him. King was out operating on the outside. He was organizing all the marches. He was doing a lot of that stuff. And Bobby was not a big supporter of civil disobedience. He believed in the law. King believed it was the method you got from Gandhi. And he believed they had a different approach. And when King got arrested in 1960, and Harry Swofford and Louis Black, it was not Louis, I think Louis Martin, was a friend of mine actually. Louis Martin is an African-American publisher. Those two guys got together and they got Jack Kennedy to call Mrs. King, and that really turned the election around. They put out the blue bomb, 2 million copies of this leaflet saying, the Kennedys care, and Nixon was the no comment candidate. And Nixon drove Jackie Robinson insane because Robinson was a big Republican, a big supporter of his, and he begged Nixon to say something. Nixon was so interested in getting the white vote in the South, he wouldn't lift a finger. He said it'd be grandstanding. Whereas Kennedy's had the advantage of having the old solid South and the potential to get black votes. They had a great advantage on both sides. So Bobby initially thought, he said, you bomb throwers are going to kill this campaign. He went crazy when he heard that they got Kennedy to make the call, his brother. And so, and then he got on the plane to New York and he's thinking, that damn judge has put this guy in prison for basically a traffic violation. And then he turned and they worked it out and they got him out and Bobby got him out. And so he would always on the second effort do the right thing. When he stood up here in New York at a Kennedy apartment in, I guess on Central Park South, the Kennedys had an apartment. And they invited a whole room full of distinguished sort of African-American intellectuals, led by James Baldwin, a bunch of other people, Lena Horne, a whole bunch of people we know, Paolo Fonti. And there's a young kid, Jerome something or other, who just toured the Kennedy. He said, I'm not going to fight for this country in Vietnam. I got nothing against those people. And by the way, we're not treated as equals here. Why should I fight for my country? And Bobby's appalled at that. He couldn't believe that anybody would say he wouldn't fight for the country. And then he basically ended the meeting. He said, I can't take this anymore. After being, pounded, mile-mouthed, as we used to say, for all those hours. And then a couple weeks later, Bobby was the one, and I got the tape of him in the room with his brother saying, you've got to go on national television and come out for civil rights. Bobby did that. He said that Robert Drew Dodge. And you could see the whole way they argued back and forth. And finally Jack said, okay, the next day he did it and changed history. As Dr. King said, they just hit that white man, he said, just hit it out of the ballpark. And so the Kennedys were slow to get into civil rights when John Siegenthaler, Bobby's top guy, got his head hit with a lead pipe down in Alabama during the Freedom Riders, almost killed. Louis Martin said, it was John Lewis said, who was in the Freedom Riders, said, I think Kennedy's heart has just moved. So he learned. The one difference about Bobby that's the theme of the book is learning. Arthur Schlesinger, who I love, said, politics is, you were with me, Kat, he said, politics is essentially a learning profession. You have to, like a good dentist or a good doctor, you're always reading the manuals, always learning, you're always getting better at it. One problem I got with Trump, one problem. He never seems to be any better Tuesday than he was on Monday. Nothing gets better. He wakes up, like an 8-year-old and starts tweeting. He doesn't learn. He doesn't know anything about the pro-life position. He said there ought to be some kind of punishment. He doesn't do any homework. He doesn't know,
But
he doesn't
why?
think he needs
Why?
to learn. And Bobby was always learning, trying to learn he learned about civil rights, he learned about so many issues, and this guy doesn't think, he thinks it's instinctive to be president of the United States. And I like learning, and I think learning's great. That's why a lot of people go for later degrees, because learning is more enjoyable later in life, because you really appreciate what you want to learn, and you know what you really want to learn. I would love to just do history. Every day I don't want any grades. The trouble is grad school is always statistics and numbers and stuff. Wait, where's the history in here?
But you point out something that's brilliant, which a lot of modern U.S. presidents don't have the ability to learn to adjust their position. They hold on so tightly, and people that you have on your show every night, they're so tied emotionally, physically to their position.
Because they get scared and they come on television and they're nervous and they've got a bunch of things they've decided. I mean, I'm like this too. I don't do it because I'm a little more loosey-goosey, but a lot of people come on with the night, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that, then I'm going to say that. And no matter what I ask them, they do that. And, you know, I was talking to Vicki Kennedy the other night, who's a widow of Ted. She said he would have these rehearsals, we would practice, no matter what they ask, say this. And I think that's what a lot of them do, and it bugs you. What you're supposed to do on television is you're supposed to begin to answer the question, and then make your little thing. But you have to answer the question, or the audience can tell you're not answering it. And they'll let you do your thing if you do answer the question. But they can tell them, the press, if you're dodging it, it bugs them. And the tough guys like Chuck will just say, you didn't answer my question. Well, they don't say it that way. I say it that way. They say, let me try again. You know, they're very nice about it. But the great thing about Hardball is I go 3 or 4 times. I mean, people like it when they just bore in on somebody.